POV. It's 1974, you're thrice divorced, and the only thing your bitch ex-wife didn't take from you was your C20 Camper Special. This is a completely original, all the way down to the factory drums, that was only occasionally driven on Sunday to go to Patty's house after church for some after-church chicken. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about the accessories that came in this truck. Radio, truck bed, cool TP thing, fuel tank switch. It doesn't work. It didn't when it was new. I don't know. Way she goes, I guess. It's 22 degrees. We're gonna fire it up and go nipple to Tootsie and find everything wrong with it. Oh, okay, there we go. All right. So a lot of people have done a lot of videos on after you buy a project car, after you buy a whatever car. I wanted to make one myself because one, we're gonna be doing that today, and two, because I don't agree with a lot of things that a lot of people do for their inspections and whatnot. So one of those has to do with the engine. You need to go through and check the compression or the leak down of each cylinder and everything along those lines. In my opinion, if the engine starts, runs decent, runs good, don't do it. Because as long as the engine isn't sitting there sputtering or having genuine issues running, because if you go through and find one cylinder that's 50 PSI under the rest of them or 60 PSI under the rest of them, you're gonna freak out and you're gonna go, well, I have to tear the engine down now. And it's gonna lose that I bought it to drive it for fun thing. It's up to anybody. This is all what I'm gonna do. To start off here, there's already a lot of pluses. The engine runs very good. It already has an aluminum radiator. I know Losi put that in there, but I'm already seeing a couple things without touching stuff. So let's go over that. That is the water pump bearing is shot. The belt though here looks good, brand new. I think Losi did replace that when he had it. So, and I know a lot of people are out there screaming, what about the wiring? What about this? What about that? It looks ugly. So yeah, it does look pretty ugly, all right? This is a 40, 50-year-old truck. And that's when you have to separate ugly from bad. So bad wiring is indicated by cracks in the wiring, the sheathing just completely ripped off or something along those lines. It's so hard that when you bend it, it breaks. None of this wiring is that. We're gonna leave the wiring as it is. All right, the next thing I'm doing is I'm doing a little troubleshooting on a known issue real quick. I just wanna kind of figure this out real fast. The blower motor only has like one speed, maybe two. Seems like the switch in the truck is bad. It will not switch between low, medium, and high. And next on the list of goodies is we're gonna check our brake system. First, I'm gonna check by looking at our fluid, make sure that our fluid is good. Front is a little bit low, but it does look really clear and clean. So before we get into the brakes, we've already got it jacked up a little bit here. So we're gonna check the bearings, check the ball joints, all those stuff by just shimming the wheel around. So to check your bearing, so before we get to the brakes, I wanna check the bearing, our ball joints, and how we check that is just by shaking the wheel around a little bit. So most of that play right there, being especially that this isn't power steering, you can actually see the steering column move as I shake it like this. So best way to shake it is top and bottom, grab it. You can hear that. That is most likely a bearing. Not necessarily bad. Oh yeah, that's actually a lot of movement there. Well, before we take that off, we're gonna check the ball joint. The ball joint is, you need like a block of wood or something right below the tire here to give you leverage. Is just trying to see if we feel anything weird. That noise, I think, is the wheel. Ball joints look good. So, looks like I have to look at this bearing. Also, I'm noticing now that all the sway bar bushings are shot, so we're gonna have to make a note of that as well. It is important to note that you are usually gonna have a little bit of play in roller bearings. You don't want a lot, so probably just do a repack on it, put her back in there, and it'll be all right. Tighten it down a little bit more, just a smidgen, and That'll get rid of our wiggle. Not a big deal. So I know the lighting isn't the best, but you can see this massive groove in this rotor, and that is not supposed to be there. And there's one on the back too. A-arms look good at least. A-arm bushings are good. That one's really bad. So this bearing's not bad either. It's just, there's no grease hardly there. I mean, it's, you know, a little loose. I mean, that's not anything wild though. But all these bearings look good. They're not burned. There's no flat spots or anything like that. So it needs a good packing. Like I said, again, the race is good. No lips, nothing to catch your nail on. Spindle, also good. Go repack this, put it in, do the same thing we did on the other side, pretty much. We'll see something crazy here. So on the other side, I don't know if I said it or not, but I was pretty sure this was an OEM brake because it says GM right there. But right here is the assembly line sticker, like the, I'm assuming this is like the inspection sticker or whatever. Haven't fully found out, but I do know that it is a fact. So these are factory rotors still on here. In terms of the front end, we've gone over just about everything. We've gone over the brakes, we've looked at them, we've gone over the brake fluid, we've gone over the engines, we've gone over the actual rotors, the pads, the wheel bearings, and next is the steering. So I did a little bit looking at it. The idler arm is kind of hard to see on camera, but when I had it jacked up and I moved it, it had a bunch of lateral or vertical play in it. Rag joint is completely shot. Like it's trash. So the next thing to do is we're gonna flip the truck around, back it in, and go over the rear brakes, axle seals, axle bearings, the rear diff fluid. Let's get this thing flipped around real quick. Hinges need oiled. Oh yeah. That's way nicer. Perfect. I've gotten to the point where I've got the brakes, or the one side, this side, the brake is off. And found a couple of issues. Number one, I don't have a socket for the nut for a 14 bolt, but that's okay because I have a hammer and a punch. We moved over to the driver's side brake, and I noticed that the keeper for the axle nut, it was obviously beaten, like it has been off before. I couldn't help but notice the nut is past the end of the axle tube. So I was like, well, what? Oh my God. Yeah, that's not good. I haven't loosened anything. But not only does this have the side-to-side play, so I'm looking down here in the bore of the drum, I can walk it out half an inch. Okay, hold on a second. So that's no way. No way, that's already. So that's 2.5 turns to get that nut off. That is not right at all. So hopefully the inner bearing in here isn't trashed. Okay, that keyway's not broke. So that means the nut didn't back itself off. Oh, I think that bearing is absolutely, oh, that's not good. I think that bearing is absolutely fucked. No, maybe not. That bearing don't look bad. The actual spindle feels good. There are some burn marks, but that's not terrible. The rear axle surface looks good too. Yeah, this brake looks fine. Is that? Seems like this e-brake cable is pretty hung up here. So I noticed that the e-brake was sticking. and the e-brake cable for the left side was just absolutely gummed up. So I've been working some brake clean in it, took the rubber boot off where it connects to the intermediate, pouring brake clean down in it, and working it, getting the dirt all released out of it. And so far, I think we've just about got it completely clean. Let's go ahead and check our U-joints and carrier bearing. Oh God, that carrier bearing is shot. I can about pull this forward drive shaft out. But the U-joints look good. I am gonna grease the slip yoke here. Floorboards look great. Body mounts look good. Really good, actually. I mean, they're dry rotted a little bit, but they're holding perfect shape. Like, they're not even scrunched at all, so. Well, we've gone through everything that I wanted to go through, and I think we found everything that we really need to find, especially this drum over here. I'm gonna pull it out and we're gonna go over what it is we found and what the plan of action is. In close, the truck needs a couple things. Big ticket items, clutch. Number one, no doubt, it needs a clutch. Number two, it needs a new intermediate emergency brake cable. That thing's stretched, shot, there's no more adjustment left in it. It needs replaced. The other thing is the water pump. The water pump pulley is shot. Not the pulley, but the bearing is shot. It has all kinds of wiggle in it. The master cylinder, I didn't say it in the video because I already knew about it. I was just checking everything else in the brake system, but the master cylinder, every once in a while, the pedal will go to the floor. It's bypassing fluid out and around the piston inside of the master cylinder. It needs changed. So anyway, that's the end of this. I appreciate you guys for watching. It means a lot to me. This truck is gonna be a fantastic truck after he's fixed these small things, and that will be the next video, is fixing all these small things and the big ticket items, and she's gonna be a good runner. So I appreciate y'all for watching. Please check out the other videos. Check out when we picked this truck up. The video's up here. You can see how the truck was when we bought it and the whole adventure driving it home. So again, thank you. See y'all later.